Welcome to another episode in the KIPS Podcast. My name is Tyler Valencia, and I'm the president of KIPS and Time to Train Fitness. Today, we're talking about something I think a lot of new entry-level people to the health, wellness, fitness industry with what they struggle with, but also I have to say that it's not their fault. They just don't know because, they're not really instructed or helped along that path. And this kind of gets into now how this episode kind of came into fruition. And I'm talking about what do you do after you become certified? That's to be the topic of this episode. But this episode got created or kind of sparked when I was thinking about this segment of the podcast that I did about a month ago from when this is being recorded. It was with guest Vincent Mezzo, and we were talking about education. Fitness education, health, wellness education, and how education in general is geared toward just people getting the certification. So there's all these, the topics, the subject domains, and the goal of taking the certification is just to finish it, to get that piece of paper, to get that credential. And it's not to enter, to find a job, to grow within a job. It's more to just get that piece of paper. And that's been one of the things that as long as you've been in the industry for more than a year, you notice them. So why aren't we learning about this? Why aren't we hearing more about this? Why aren't we taught this? And so talking about this, how and what do you do once you become certified? It's one of those things where it's an area for improvement. And hopefully we can get a nice discussion with talking about this to help people that are considering moving into the health, wellness, fitness space. So what's going to be in this episode? I'm going to talk about should you get another certification. I'm going to talk about experience, and then I'm going to talk about online. And those are going to be the three main topics of this. But before we get started, make sure you do all the podcast things, like, subscribe, share this episode with a friend, somebody that you think will enjoy it, that might get some benefit from it, or maybe that wants to join in on the discussion. And of course, you can catch all the new episodes on the KIPS YouTube channel. If it's a video podcast, this one is not. But if it's a video podcast, you could see everybody that's on the episode talking live to the camera. With episodes like this, it is a voiceover. But make sure you head over, subscribe, and check out all the great content we have on there. The first area of this podcast is, should you get another certification? Now, this is one of those things where, okay, you just finished, you're probably feeling maybe burnt out. You're thinking, oh man, that was a lot to finish in order to get that credential. And you're thinking, well, what do I do? Where are my steps? And you might think, should I just get another certification? And a few questions to ask yourself, and this is where we're going to jump off here, is, does your job pay for it? If you already found a job, hopefully, or maybe you worked in a gym and maybe the front desk or sales rep, and now you are in the training department. Does your job pay for you to get another certification? Or does getting another certification equate to higher pay? That if you got another specialty certification, let's say that you got your personal trainer certification and now you're going to get some type of specialty certification, maybe it has to do with assessments or something along that line. And you're thinking, okay, what's going to be the benefit of this? Yeah, marketing yourself, the education, those are all benefits, of course. But does it equate to a higher pay rate? Are you going to get more clients? And if we're now thinking about the group fitness realm, so let's say that you got your group fitness, your general certification, and you're thinking, okay, should I get a different format to teach? Ask yourself the same questions. Does your job pay for it? Does it equate to higher pay? But also, are there classes for you to teach? Is the gym that you're working at, are they going to give you classes? Are there already existing classes that you can fit into? Those are hard things to break into. I know, speaking from experience from the last time that I worked inside of a facility, thankfully I was able to create a good relationship with the group fitness manager, and I was always the go-to sub. But if I didn't have that relationship, I can only imagine how hard it is to break into teaching. I've met people that got their certifications and they're maybe trying to break into it or doing it as a hobby, but they can never get the opportunity. And so it's tough. That's the takeaway there. It's tough. So ask yourself, are there classes for you to teach if you get this certification, this additional certification on top of what you have? Now, the last question to think about is, how does it build your business or your client list? And when I say business, I think people think, well, I don't own a business. And I'm talking about more mindset, a business within a business. If you are working for a facility, you're working for a gym, having that mindset of, I am my own business and I need to grow my client list, because that's often how you're treated. You're treated as if you should be your own business. You should be growing your own client list, and you only get a few leads if that's the kind of gym that you work in. But how does this certification help you? How does it build your business, your client list? Are you getting more clients? These are things that you don't really think about, but they should be thought about. And this last area that we're going to talk about here, what type of course should you take? Now, I've been thinking about this, saying this for ever since I've probably been in the industry. And that's that business fundamentals and marketing courses are highly undervalued in our industry, in our health and wellness industry. And I know that's one of the things that when I speak to people that own conferences, work for conference companies, they always talk about how the business courses are typically not that popular. And it's almost mind-boggling to think that nobody takes those courses, because they're so important, in my opinion. They are what help you stay within the industry. Yes, program development, exercise science related topics, all important. But business skills are honestly what help you stay in the field. And some of that business savvy, that mindset that some people, they might have a stigma towards it. They might think that, oh, well, I don't want to be that person that puts themselves out there on social media, or I don't want to do X, Y, and Z. Well, you're putting a roadblock in front of you from learning about those areas. There's so many positive things of social media, but yet all we hear and see is potentially negative things. Or we get in this mindset that, why don't I look like this? And especially working in a superficial industry where people look at looks and that you're judged on those types of things, it, of course, makes it tough. But there's so many positive things and a lot of great education out there that you can build your own following. You can build your own client list with marketing, with business fundamentals that help you turn this into a career. That is the big takeaway for this with the certification, turning this into a career and not just a hobby, and not just something that you have to leave after a few months because you're not making enough. The grind is real within the health and fitness industry. If you are a personal trainer, group exercise instructor, those are things that I can speak from, that it's a grind, early mornings, late nights, middle of the day, trying to figure out how to grow your client list, all these things. And you're searching through ideas, constantly trying to figure out things. So to wrap this section up of it, should you get another certification? I think if you can answer any of those things, yes, okay, yeah, there's nothing wrong with it. I don't think there is a right or wrong answer. Some people might think, oh, well, you should get more experience before you get another certification. Well, what if the experience opportunity isn't there? And you're looking at your options, and maybe you're afforded that opportunity to just get another certification, to prepare yourself, to build your resume. Those are things that you have to ask yourself, and it's all dependent upon yourself and what your circumstances are. If you're in the market for adjustable dumbbells or at-home workout equipment, check out Core Home Fitness at the link in the description. From adjustable dumbbells, multi-function benches, and all-in-one options, they got it all. I personally have their adjustable dumbbells and the glute drive that also works as a bench, and would recommend them to anyone building their home gym or looking for easy adjustable options. The dumbbells, they easily adjust from 5 pounds to 50 pounds just by turning the handle and lock in for your safety. Grab yourself a pair and see for yourself how easy they can fit into your fitness program. If you've been a fan of this podcast, you know that before end of each episode, you're going to hear a promotion for the Naboso Duo insoles. I've been using them for probably a year and a half, and I personally think they're game changers. I think everybody should get them, try them out, see what you think. And personally, I've talked about how I used to have foot pain just from sitting at a desk and then trying to be active, trying to go work out, and not really being able to fully maximize it. So I always try to throw it out there for individuals to just try them out, see what you think, utilize them in your day-to-day, and hopefully improve your overall activity level. That's the key right there, activity level. So check them out. There's a link in the description for the Naboso insoles. They have a variety of them to check out, different accessories. Check them all out. See what you think, and hopefully come back and let us know that they've really helped out with your activity level. Let's get back to the episode. Let's now talk about experience. Now, this is such a, maybe the term is double-edged sword here with it, or it's maybe one of those things where when I say the first thing here, you're gonna be like, yep, that's how it is. And jobs, gyms, facilities, they want professionals that are ready to go and already know how to teach, already know how to sell training. But then how are you supposed to get a job? You go through all the steps, get certified, you're ready to teach, you're ready to train clients, and yet you can't get a job. And it's one of those things where it's an unfortunate situation because, they're businesses, they want to make money. And it's all, again, dependent upon who's running the club, who's the manager there. And those are all things that hurt our industry. But, you have to look at it from their side. And so, one of the things that has always stuck out in my head, and it took me a while to realize, this manager was in the right, was how when I was trying to go back from one, I'll call it a lower tier gym, just it's mean to say, but the bottom of the tier chain in terms of like the pricing that the memberships are sold there. And I wanted to go back to a higher end club where it's hundreds of dollars for a membership and clients spend thousands of dollars in training because it's good pay, it's good work, it's good experience. And I almost had to convince the fitness manager who I already knew. And it's somebody that I've actually had on the podcast in the last, I think, year and a half, and somebody that I stay in contact with. He was the fitness manager. And I had to convince him to return because from his perspective, do you have enough time? Do you have the time to dedicate to early mornings, late at night? Do you have the time to put that grind in? Because that's the profession, but also you're working at a high-end club where people, this is their career. So they're taking away hours from other people to give to you. And at this time, I was in college and I had a few years of experience. I had already worked at this club already, actually. And I was trying to come back because of all the benefits of working at a high-end club like that. But that just shows it's a competitive field. It's a competitive atmosphere. And you have to think about it from both sides and not take it personally. So what are some tips then that I have for you? If you're in that boat, that you're trying to get a job, training, you're trying to get one class, whatever it might be. If you're a personal trainer, find a gym with an onboarding program. Maybe that's one of the questions there when you go to an interview, and this might show how much research you've done, is ask them, do you have an onboarding program that you can help the instructor, the trainer learn the field and get ready to be a professional within the industry? And there are many, I got to take that back. There are some good chains, facilities that have an onboarding program that can help you. So finding one that has an onboarding program that there's probably education involved with it, online courses, hands-on training, and then also the mixing in some experience levels of it, working with clients, all that kind of good stuff. But find one and ask a gym if you're in the interview process, if they have one. Next tip I have for you is apply to as many gyms as possible. And this is my own experience here. And I remember this when I first got certified. I was trying to become a personal trainer, and I got offered jobs at 3 different gyms and denied by one. And ultimately I settled on, I feel like, the best circumstance, and feel very fortunate that I did get the opportunity to work at a high-end facility at a younger age, because there's so many benefits. That could be a whole different topic for a podcast. But one of the lower tier gyms said no. And it was because I didn't have any experience and I was new. And with applying to as many as possible, hopefully you build a connection. They keep your resume too, for if they're not going to hire you, maybe down the road. You never know. There's turnover in this industry. So apply to as many as possible to hopefully just get your foot in the door. And you might just have to look at your situation and be like, okay, I think this gym is not the best, but it gets me in the door. It gets that name on the resume, and you can reapply to other ones and hopefully stay on that grind to, hey, if there is a higher end gym, hey, can you keep me in mind for the future? I'd really like to work here one day, but I'm going to go work at this other one and get my experience and build that up and get ready for that opportunity. The next tip I have, train friends. The experience part of it hopefully makes it a little easier when you get a new client, when you're working with somebody that you don't know. Of course, there's those jitters, and it takes reps of working with different clients, working through that progression of how to communicate with a new client. And this can go the same if you're teaching a class, getting those reps to teach in front of a class, the ability to appear knowledgeable, but also bring the energy in a group exercise circumstance that it takes time. So train friends, maybe train a small group, maybe train a parent, an elder, uncle, whatever that might be, to get the reps. How are you talking to them? How are you talking about an exercise? Because when you get that certification, you don't know fully how to talk about explaining exercise. You know potentially the muscles, you know the actions, but how do I explain this to somebody in terms that they understand? How do I explain a bicep curl? How do I explain a lateral raise? So they know all the cues, and you get those reps and you build from them. You build from the repetitions, adding on. You get more clear with it, all those things. So potentially train friends, train for free. Maybe throw a discount to them if they're willing to pay. So that's another tip. And then my last one, that's kind of going to segue to the last area that we're going to talk about in this episode, is teach online. I think that's one of the things that really opened up over the last 3 years is teaching online. And I've seen the power of online. I've seen the power of YouTube. And teaching online, it opens yourself up to a bigger market. But what I was just talking about with the repetitions, I can speak to from experience with online helps me stay mentally engaged with training people. The story that I just was texting with somebody yesterday was how when I taught live, so in person, not to the camera, about maybe what was it? Almost close to a year ago. It was definitely less than a year ago, but it was the first time I taught in person to a group of people in probably 3 years. And I felt fresh. I felt good because I'd already been teaching online. I'd already been filming workouts. So I already had those repetitions. And I remember times when I didn't have that, when I would have breaks from teaching classes, training clients, and it would take me about a week to get just the reps, how I say things normally, and for it to just smoothly roll off the tongue. And so teaching online, you get the repetitions that you can, that'll help you grow. I think that that's one of the things that people don't think about, but it's very true. Entry level, start online, open yourself up to a bigger market, and hopefully grow your client list. I would love to hear stories about that down the line, that people, that's where they started. Oh, I started online and I grew my client list and I got my reps. And of course it was shaky at first, but now I'm much better at it. So talking about online, last topic here, and it's don't discount the power of online. Now, what do you do with online? If you just got your certification, and this will require you figuring out some of the business related items, but start a YouTube channel or maybe use a company. I've made reviews about a company called Balance, but there's many companies like that are similar to Balance that you can create on-demand classes, manage your business. It's basically a business management software that an individual could utilize to do online, in person. And so either of those options, you're starting online, you're doing YouTube, you're doing workouts through Zoom, whatever that might be, don't discount the power of it. All the things I already talked about with you get the reps, bigger market, but the one that I mentioned at the beginning of this, the business end of it, you learn those things. You learn how to market yourself, how to create social media content, how to get your name out there, how to network, things along that nature where you are breaking down the barriers. Oh, well, I don't live close to you. Oh, well, I actually teach online. And now you can do friends, referrals, all those kind of things that in person, they help you build a business. Word of mouth is huge. So doing that now online where there is there's no barrier of, oh, I got to drive there or oh, it takes time. You can knock down those barriers. So don't discount the power of online when it comes to when you just got certified. How do I get started? Where do I start teaching? All those kind of things. And to finish this out with, I know that I wanted to talk a little bit more about YouTube here. And I always stress, and I'm pretty excited that, and let's see, about a month from now, I'm going to be doing my lecture that I haven't done in probably 3 years at a conference in DC. It's called DCAC, about YouTube marketing and strategy for utilizing YouTube. And I always think that any fitness pro should start on YouTube or do a YouTube channel, and you could use it to whatever degree you want, but you learn a lot of skills from it, and you could always come back to it. Let's say you're just doing a YouTube channel to build your newsletter list, or you're doing a YouTube channel to do how-to videos. Great. You learn those skills. How do I make videos better? How do I grow the views on this? All these kind of things. You learn a lot of great skills. And maybe all of a sudden you're like, wow, like this channel has grown really quickly, or getting a lot of views on this. And now you open yourself to workouts, 45, 25, 30-minute workouts. And the beauty of doing YouTube and online workouts is that the YouTube requirement, so there's 2 YouTube requirements to get monetized. And that is, you have to have 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours, depending upon what field you're in. If you're in a different industry, I always hear about how the watch hours is the hardest one. And I've seen that with a different podcast that I do about movies. The watch hours is the hardest. But with online workouts, people are taking 30-minute classes, hour-long classes, 20-minute classes, so that watch hour requirement, it gets knocked out much quicker, in my opinion. So that's a big benefit to consider if you go down that route, and you can start basic tutorials, just getting your feet in the water, grow to workouts, and all of a sudden you're looking at your channel like, wow, this can be something that really helps and that I can put my career into this. So that has been this full episode on what to do after you become certified. I hope that it helps. I really think that that's an area for improvement within this industry. And listening to this, contributing, those are all things that I hope happen from this. But as always, thank you for listening. Make sure you like and subscribe, and I will catch you in the next one.